Oh yes, it's that time again because we are right on the cusp of yet another Star Wars live-action series dropping on Disney+. So you know what that means? It's time to speculate, fantasize and theorize, all the good stuff. Because despite the fact that we have had a number of teaser trailers that are pretty damn awesome if you just watch them in isolation, we've had articles drop online and certain respectable magazines have also given us behind the scene looks, and we've had some pretty cool interviews to go along with that too that have shed little glimmers of light on this Andor series as a whole. There are still an awful lot of things that have not been 100% confirmed, and that's what leads to this type of video where we think, we want to see this, are you going to put this in our show? And they better do, because if not, I'm going to get my blaster out and stun them. So again, despite the fact that all these trailers look really cool and all the articles are saying that this show is going to be some pretty hot stuff just all together, there are a number of things that your boy wants to see, and probably you do too. So without further ado, I'm Gareth from What Culture Star Wars, and these are 10 things that need to happen in Star Wars Andor. Number 10, enough storytelling meat to fill 2 seasons. So there is no questioning the fact that Disney got off to a particularly strong start with their Mandalorian series a couple of years back, but one of the key things that made that show so damn good is it didn't really feel stretched. You feel like you got every single bit of story within the season, the first season and the second season. You didn't feel like you were just watching just filler episodes for the sake of it. Every single episode and minute had a purpose. It made you feel fulfilled. However, in the wake of The Mandalorian, the likes of the Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi, just to name the only 2 real live-action series that I can think of at this moment in time, haven't quite followed that same path, really. They've had a lot of episodes where you just kind of watch them and go, nothing really happened there. It's a little bit of a background history, but it's not really done an awful lot for me. That's kind of been a criticism thrown at both those shows. However, in the case of Andor, it's already been reported that we're going to get 12 episodes in this first season, which is set to drop towards the end of this month. So that's a lot of episodes, and they're quite long episodes, so we need a lot of story to fill that many episodes in just one season, surely. And it's also been reported that the season after this, season 2, that's already been given the green light, is going to see an awful lot of time jumps. I think season 1's going to go all across 1 year in the life of Andor, Cassian Andor and the rest of the gang. Whereas season 2 is going to see time jumps like a year in advance every 3 episodes. So it's going to span 4 years of time, season 2. It's going to be a big old spectacle, a big old epic story. It's going to lead straight into Rogue One. So you gotta feel like there's gotta be some serious depth there and some serious meat for the characters to get their teeth stuck into. Don't just take us on weird little detours where you got people driving around on scooters, and you know what I'm talking about. You do, you know. Number 9, a seriously fleshed out Mon Mothma. And speaking of the hope that this series is going to be given a bit of space and time to breathe just in general, and one character in particular in the supporting cast joining Cassian Andor that I hope finally gets some time to spread her wings and show what she's really all about. I'm of course talking about Mon Mothma, brilliantly played by Genevieve O'Reilly for a number of years really now. I think she was in Revenge of the Sith, she's been in Rogue One, she's been everywhere, but she's never really been given that much to do. Let's be honest, Mon Mothma is just kind of there for the most part, even though as a character she's kind of like the catalyst for the rebellion. She's the focal point, but she's always just kind of there as a statuesque like pillar. She doesn't really do an awful lot, but that is set to change. Because as Genevieve O'Reilly herself said at the recent Star Wars celebration, we're finally going to get to see the woman behind Mon Mothma, behind the figure, the spiritual figure you could say. We're going to see how this woman works, because we're going to see her during her time in the Galactic Senate when she was trying to change things from within, perhaps how she gets disenchanted by the way the world's working under the Empire rule, and how she kind of goes over to maybe joins the rebels or even starts up the Rebel Alliance as we know it. So that's going to be really integral to her character arc, I believe, and the story in general when it comes to Andor. And it's also worth noting that Tony Gilroy himself, the creator of the show, the man behind it all, has said that she's going to play a huge part in the series in general, so it's safe to say Mon Mothma is finally going to get a chance to show what she's all about. Number 8, a morally grey collection of central figures. So perhaps the most captivating element of Rogue One, just in general, but let's be honest, it's a pretty good film across the board, was the fact that some of our heroes, the protagonists you could say, were quite morally grey, weren't they? They did a few things where you kind of went, that's a bit dodgy that, you're a bit of a nasty pasty, aren't you? And the focal point of this new series, the actual star of the show, Andor himself, pretty much summed that up very early on in Rogue One when he stabbed a fellow rebel in the back on the back of like getting some very important information in order to save his own skin, because he realized that his pal wouldn't be able to evade the Empire, and he just went, you know what, for the good of the Republic, the Resistance, the Rebel Alliance, whatever you want to call it, I'm just going to shoot you in the back. So you do have to imagine that a couple of years before that version of this Andor was on the scene, he was probably even more desperate. He was trying to just stay alive and keep his head above water. He didn't have this whole Rebel Alliance behind him and backing him up, so he was probably shooting people in the back even more. And you've got to think that just in general, across this entire galaxy at this moment in time, it's so unstable. People don't know where the next meal's coming from. They don't know if they're going to get killed by the Empire on a moment's notice. There's going to be a lot of backstabbing, a lot of killing, but I'll get onto that a bit later on in the day. I'm getting so scared right now. I feel like someone's going to stab me in the back. Number 7, a grounded fight against oppression. So keeping with this idea of the Galactic Empire never being stronger than what they're going to be in the middle of this show at this point because they are at the true height of their power, there definitely must have been a temptation within this show to go really big, because I understand there's probably more extras than there's ever been in the history of any television show ever. There's thousands apparently that are going to be on this show, and the fact that they've shot on location, not used the volume, it definitely feels like it's going to be an epic. But I think the story in general of this rebellious group of people just pushing back against the Empire in the early stages lends itself to a bit more of a grounded story, to be honest. In all honesty, I don't need to see big intergalactic space battles in this one and CGI out your ears and loads of Jedi Force powers or anything like that. I don't need that in this show. I've got that in the Skywalker saga. I had that in Obi-Wan Kenobi and things like that. I just don't need that CGI stuff overload. Some of the strongest parts of this Star Wars adventure onto the small screen through Disney Plus so far have been found in the smaller battles. Like, you look at the siege that went down at the end of The Mandalorian Season 1 when you had all the stormtroopers coming at them and they're all trapped in the little hut thing. That was cool. That's my kind of stuff. Give me more of this in Andor. So to sum up, I hope that more of this budget's been spent on just going on location and having this world feel a bit more lived in and a bit more organic than just pumping loads of CGI into a volume, which thankfully does not appear to be the case. Number 6, what specifically influences Cassian Andor to join the fight? As I've already alluded to a number of times over the course of this video, this is going to be an Andor story at its heart because his name's on the tin, so if you didn't really have him at the centre of things, it'd be a bit weird. So the big question when it comes to this main character is how in the holy hell did he become a part of the Rebel Alliance in the first place? What inspired him to do that? Well, we've got a few little bits of information that seem to hint at what could be in store for our Andor. There's been news of the show starting off with Andor's homeworld getting absolutely massacred by the Empire, so that's probably enough to make somebody go, you know what, don't like them, I'm going to fight against them. And as Diego Luna, Cassian Andor himself, alluded to at Star Wars Celebration, this is going to be the story of somebody who doesn't really know what they're capable of at the start, and then they realise when they put into these positions, these really difficult, stressful situations, what they can do. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's pretty much what he said. It's also been said that this is going to be a show that centres around what it is to be a refugee and how being forced from your home shapes you as a person, which I think is probably the most compelling factors of the show in general. Really excited to see how that works out. And Andor, I think he's going to be pushed to limits that he didn't even know he could get out of or eclipse or top. I know what I'm trying to say. This guy's going to get pushed. Number 5, the Empire's grip on the galaxy explored. So I'm going to get my laptop for this next bit because there's a bit of a quote that I want to talk about, and it's from Diego Luna, and he was speaking to Entertainment Weekly. He said, "You'll have the chance to meet many characters you don't know and visit places you don't know existed in this galaxy, which makes me think we're going to explore new worlds and see new faces. Go figure." And as I've said a few times again in this video, we're coming into this story at a time where the Empire have never been more powerful. They've never been more expansive. They've got so much control over the galaxy. I want to see the certain planets that they're going to control, the new planets, the new places. I think that was one of the strongest points of the recent Obi-Wan Kenobi series when we saw a few new planets, like the kind of Tokyo-inspired night planet. I really like that one. So if we go into that kind of darker, murkier environment going forward in this series, that's going to be all fine by me. Number 4, a backstabbing reality comes into focus. So one of the major eye-catching parts of this show when it was first pitched and announced and all the rest of it was the fact that it was framed as like a spy thriller, like loads of danger, loads of kind of espionage, James Bond, Jason Bourne-esque type stuff just going down in the Star Wars sphere. That is quite intriguing to say the least. As I've already said, Andor himself just turned his back on his supposed friends at the start of Rogue One, so it just stands to reason that we're going to see a lot more of that. That's just going to be part of the territory when it comes to Andor. But I've got a feeling this won't just extend to the actual good guys, this will be for the bad side too. You'll see people from the Empire suddenly going, you know what, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. Like Mon Mothma doesn't seem like she's too happy with the whole Galactic Senate. She's probably going to go, you know what, don't need this. And I think on the good side, I'm going to see a few people go, you know what, they got a lot of money, that Empire. Yeah, I don't really feel like I'm into this Rebel Alliance, so stab in the laser sword in the back, you know what I mean. So expect to see a few more double agents, dual agents, whatever you want to call them, like Tala Durith in Obi-Wan Kenobi, just pop up on the scene. I, for one, feel like Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen, he's going to be a bit of a nefarious soul. I don't trust him. I don't know. Always plays a bit of a kind of morally grey guy, so I don't trust him. That's just me. Watch this video in about 2 months' time and I'll probably prove him wrong, but I just don't trust him. Number 3, Saw Gerrera's partisans arrive on the scene. Perhaps one of the only real major disappointments when it came to Rogue One as a film was the fact that our boy Forrest Whitaker didn't really do what he said in the tin, did he? Because he was in all the promotional material as Saw Gerrera, and we thought, wow, this is going to be one of the most just gripping portrayals of a character we've ever seen in the Star Wars world. And then when it came to the film itself, he just had a breathing apparatus on and he was being very crazy and just wheezing a lot and saying, "Bogolit!" Not sure, to be honest. But in the lead up to this show being made, there was a lot of reports that our boy Saw Gerrera, Forrest Whitaker, could be coming back, and now it's been confirmed in the most recent epic trailer for Andor that he's back, so you better believe his partisans are coming too. And if you know a thing or two about Gerrera and his partisans, they do things in a kind of questionable way. They're not above torturing people and just going to extreme lengths to get the things they need, information that can help the Rebel Alliance. They've just got pretty dodgy tactics, so I just want to see some stormtroopers get battered and put through hell. Again, I'm a bit of a weirdo, I know, I'm a bit of a strange person. Number 2, the return of some more familiar faces. And sticking with the return of Saw Gerrera, I hope that's not the only return we have. I hope we get more. All the returns, that's what we get in these Disney Plus shows. It's just a never-ending conveyor belt of returns and familiar faces. Because again, as we've seen in The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Disney and Lucasfilm in general love bringing back your faves for a bit of crowd popping because it's just an easy way to get people on board. You see someone you know, you go, I remember the things they've done before. Yeah, I'm along for the ride even more. So I, for one, think it's a bit of a no-brainer. They're probably going to bring Ahsoka Tano into this because we know she was around at this moment in time. We've seen in the Rebels animated show that she had a major hand in helping Ezra Bridger and the gang and all them lot. She was there. She was in this point. She was helping the Rebels. So I think we're going to see her pop up at some point. And then on the evil side of things, why not bring back your likes of Director Krennic, maybe even Grand Moff Tarkin with creepy CGI face again. Why not? Let's just do it. Number 1, how the Rebel Alliance came to be. So away from the actual titular leading person of the series having his own personal journey of discovery, figuring out who he is and what shapes him as a human being, let's be honest, the major thing when it comes to this show, the thing that everyone wants to know is how in the hell did the Rebel Alliance become a thing, like become a proper thing? We see these little flickers of it in all these little animated shows, not little, really cool animated shows, and you've seen just little glimmers of how the rebellion comes to be, but we want to see the exact moment it came about. So when you get that, the forming of this Rebel Alliance, you get Andor's personal journey, you get these familiar faces returning, the real grounded, gritty battle of Empire versus the first few flickers of rebellion. This show has the makings, I think, of something really damn special. It's flew under the radar up until this point. Up until the last couple of weeks, couple of months, people have been a bit like, Andor, but now you've seen the trailers, now you've seen all the behind the scenes stuff, people are really getting engaged, and I think, whispering in little corners of the galaxy, this could be the best Star Wars series yet. Tape it. So that has been our list. Know of any other things that we need to see in Andor that this idiot, this Padawan over here has missed? Then let me know in the comment section right down below what they are, and I will go through them individually, pick them out and say, yes, you're right, I'm a fool. I have been Gareth from What Culture Star Wars. Thank you very much for watching this lovely video today. Let's keep our fingers crossed that this Andor series is bloody brilliant because I want it to be. May the Force be with you, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.